Hello, everybody. My name is Terry Arndt. I am president of Veteran Transition Publishing. Thank you for joining us today. My guest is Dr. Nick Osborne. Welcome to the program, Nick.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So this is exciting. We're introducing a new edition of Life During College, The Veteran's Guide to Success, second edition. This is awesome. It's been 5 years. I cannot believe it. It's been 5 years since we first launched Veteran Transition Publishing. One of our first projects together was, in fact, the introduction of that book, Life During College, released back in February 2015. 4 years later, we've introduced the second edition of that title. Some interesting stats I want to share with the audience. The book is being currently utilized by more than 300 campuses across the country and other organizations, serving tens of thousands of students. It's truly amazing. Honestly, it's really astonishing. Nick, I have a question for you. I mean, 5 years ago, did you think this was possible?
I didn't think that it would grow as large and as fast as it has, but as I got more into the industry, I realized, and when you and I were out speaking at different conferences, there's so many people out there that are looking for credible and authentic resources. So this has just been great.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned credible and authentic. I mean, do you think that's why the book's been so well received, or is it just a combination of the desire for more information and having a resource for that?
One of the things that I've got a lot of feedback on is that what makes the book so unique is it's written specifically for the student, but there's so many coordinators, faculty, staff, directors, and people that are working with this population. And by them going through the book, they're learning the context and the culture of these students. So it's very unique in that it's really speaking to both different groups.
Yeah. Now, we introduced the new edition. And when you do that, a lot of people always ask, like why? I mean, the book's been successful. Why make these changes? And of course, what has changed? So can you lead us down that path? Why make a successful book and make some changes to that?
I think that there's a shelf life with all books, particularly books that have a population that's evolving so fast, like military connected students. And so what we wanted to do was sit down with our students and go through it and say, okay, is this chapter still relevant? Or is this statement right here accurate? What do we want to change and what do we want to update? And an example of that is a lot of our students looked through the housing section and said, most of us don't live on campus. Most of us have our housing already covered. You can probably get rid of that. And then what we found was that career was such a big topic of interest, and it wasn't something that we could just do with one chapter. And so many students I worked with were saying, this is really the nuts and bolts. This is really what I would like to see in the new edition, because even though this other stuff is so important for transition, for retention, for succeeding, student veterans want a tangible end result, right? And the end game for them is a career, a job that they are fulfilled by, and that's hopefully giving them great compensation. So career definitely took center stage for the new edition.
Okay. So it really, I mean, outside of maybe the housing component, when you look through the book, and got a copy of it here, it's bigger. I mean, there's more content in this one. So we've taken out a little snippet on the housing component, but we reinforced the current chapter so everybody will see the same kind of content basis there with some enhancements to those. But really, there's like 3-4 new chapters in here, all focused on that career component. So I'm curious, we have a career guide out there as well that we've created. Why put some of that content and put that career focus in a first year experience book?
Because ideally, I think college is going to be a transformative experience, and that in the 2 years or 4 years or however many years you're on campus, that by the time you graduate, you're a different person in a lot of different ways. But again, veterans are very, they're right to the point, and a lot of them are in school pursuing a degree because they want a job, and they don't just want a job; they want a career that's fulfilling and that gives them a quality of life. And that's why I think that the career piece is so important. And I also think that, as we've talked about before, Terry, career oftentimes gets put on hold until junior, senior year, later on. The most effective programs, and the mantra that you and I are always, telling at national conferences, is that they need to start thinking about career from day one. And why is that important? Because all of those hours studying and spending them in the classroom, if they don't see how they line up to a larger goal, it's harder for them to be fully present and to succeed. And the other thing is that they need to start thinking about internships, all these different pieces that we talk about in the book, so that, again, by the time they graduate, ideally they're going to have multiple job offers.
Good points. Now, I know it's been a very hectic and busy fall for us, particularly you, putting together a bunch of these resources, not only working on this new publication, but supplemental pieces that other people have asked us for as well. These include Camouflage to Campus. It's a book and a field guide now. It used to be an online program. Can you speak to a little bit of what that is?
The feedback for that was that we were targeting coordinators, directors, deans, and people who really wanted a comprehensive training, so to speak, about how to work with this population. And we were hearing from so many different folks about, we need an actual blueprint. We need somebody to help us become architects on our campus to build this successful program. So the webinars and the modules and the trainings really did that. It broke it down into, comprehensive language. It broke it down into actual tangible points and examples that they could use. And what happened was, a lot of these schools were starting to share this information. And from that, they were saying, our peers want more information, and ideally we want something in print. And that's what evolved into this next step.
Good. The white paper, The Fabulous Five, I know there's a webinar or a video series coming out on that too, but short synopsis, what's that about?
So, again, we're now almost at the 15, 16, 17-year mark since we started to see articles come out about this population. And so almost 2 decades later, are the best practices and all of the things that we've learned and that we've adopted, are they still relevant? And the Fabulous Five, really what it is it's a summary of saying, this is what we've learned, this is what was important back then, is it still important now? And so it's really giving an updated state of where we're at as an industry and as a profession, and most importantly, to remind schools that this is what's essential for a successful program.
Okay. Perfect. And this video, as well as others, I know we put together a series of these to wrap up all these different components. Feedback on these. What's the value of all these different videos?
So the videos, I think, are a great way to hear more context and to humanize what we're talking about. And, again, the people that I've been getting emails from, or I've been running into in conferences, have been just applauding the videos because, they're short, they're to the point, they're comprehensive, but most importantly, it gives them a guide that they can use in tandem with our books and our white papers and the products that we've made available. So it really shows a plan, so to speak, rather than just these videos operating in isolation.
Right. Now, all this information that you've mentioned, the videos, they're available. We have a YouTube channel set up where they're available on our website, completely free. You can go through, that shows all the different things from the Camouflage to Campus ones to interviews we've done over the years, content. So completely free. And again, our motto really is, and our goal is to be a resource, authentic. Here it is. So if that's where you're at and you want to use those resources at that level, great, take advantage of them. The white papers, again, we have multiple ones for student veterans as well as for other students. Those are a complete library available for free. The Camouflage to Campus program, that is a fee-based publication, but that's available on our website as well. So all this stuff there to gather. So appreciate your efforts in putting all this great content available for us. Now, I do want to mention we're going to be, it is, that time of year when everybody gathers up and shares best practices and shares their stories about the last year, conference season. So we're going to be at 3 different conferences this year. The NASPA Military Connected Student Symposium, the First Year Experience Conference, as well as CCME. feel free, please, if you're planning on attending those, seek us out. We have programs at each of those conferences. We're going to have a booth with all the different resources available. So be sure to attend those events. Nick, I appreciate giving us a moment to talk about your new publication, giving us a few minutes of your time. Thank you for your publications, your efforts on this. Anything else that you would like to add?
I just want to, emphasize that one of the big reasons when you and I were in San Diego initially, we talked about this, is that seeing how unique this population is and realizing that a lot of resources that exist on campus are oftentimes geared toward traditional students. For example, a counseling center. I was speaking to a counselor on our campus here not too long ago, and she mentioned just the number of students that are managing homesickness. Obviously, that's not always relevant to the student veteran population we work with. And so I think it's really important to have a book that really gives direct ownership about the uniqueness of this culture. And that's why I'm so excited about this new edition, as I feel that we've done that. We've updated it with new data. We obviously put it through our student filters and got very candid feedback, and I'm really pleased with the final product.
Yeah, can agree more, and it appears that our readers love it as well. So we're making great headway, and it's a result of you. So I appreciate your efforts in this area, Nick, and as always, thank you.
Thanks, Terry.